Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the Left Coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, and today is Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yum. It's like a dream. Yum, 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 yum. Bring your sour cream.
That's right. You folks may have noticed when the show first started, I had a few crumbs on myself. I kind of noticed. Yeah, that's from having some chicken tacos, or as Popeyes would rather refer to them as chicken wraps. But you undo the wrap, it's more of a taco. Anyway, that's my story for Taco Tuesday. That's when I say I had tacos today. That's what I had. I had some Popeyes chicken wraps. That's right. I partook of the heathen chicken today. Mike would be so disappointed, or at the very least, he'd make fun of me for eating the heathen chicken. But what can I say? I'm a sinner. I will repent and go before the Lord and ask for his forgiveness for eating the heathen chicken. But it was so good. It was delicious. How's everyone doing today? Is everyone doing well? Is everyone kind of following what's going on in the news? There seems to be so much going on, and so much of it just seems to be such a pain in the rear. But you know what? Good things are happening here in the country. Trump is still winning. And when I say winning, I mean he is winning for America. I get it. I understand. Some of y'all think he's a little arrogant. 'Cause, by the way, we know he's winning because he makes sure to tell us and inform us that he is winning. He is not shy about talking about his successes, and I got no problem with that. I got no problem with him positively promoting his successes, because his successes are our successes. It's a little frustrating because there are so many people. I had an argument. I don't want to say an argument. I had a debate today with a gentleman who was just a good friend of mine, but insisted that everything is so bad for everybody. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to figure this out. Border crossings are at an all-time low. Murder rate is down to pre-pandemic levels. Drug overdoses is down to pre-pandemic levels. Inflation is down to almost pre-pandemic levels. The economy is booming above what it was even during Trump's first term. I mean, economic output is just blowing up. And, you're looking at what's going on in other countries. So many countries that before he became elected were fighting with each other. I mean, there were so many skirmishes. There were at least 8. And he has either ended or at least brought forth as a part of his effort, or been a part of reductions in hostilities in almost all 8. I mean, other than the fact that you have people on the left who are going around and attacking ICE agents, and some of them are winding up getting arrested and getting shot for it. But is that really on President Trump, or is that really on the people who are going around attacking ICE agents? I don't know. I'm just more and more, I'm just getting frustrated with the whole, Democrats insisting that things are so bad. But as far as I can tell, things are pretty darn good. The numbers, all of the things that we say we want appear to be happening. We appear to be doing well economically. Crime appears to be down. Once again, I don't know what it is that these folks want, except for Trump not to be president. That's really about the only thing that I can think of that they want, that they're not getting. Anyway, all that having been said, we're having a good time. I'm having a good time. And we're going to be reporting on some of the challenges that we are facing as a nation because, once again, yes, we're facing challenges, but I'll continue to say that most of those challenges are, not the fault of our president. Anyway, let's start. Before we get going, let's start with a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start with Hitman Industries. Hitman Industries makes rifle and pistol caliber barrels available at any length. All you have to do is go to hitmanindustries.net, go there, order your barrel. Look, whether you're looking to do a new barrel, new build, or whether you're looking to rebarrel your old rifle, start your journey at Hitman Industries. Then we've got the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives at all levels of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. Want to find out why? Well, visit them at cragop.org. That's cragop.org. If you want to be a part of California's future today, you got to join CRA. And then we got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market at hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Why is it spelled that way? Because they like helping Americans wear guns. So go there, check them out. I promise you'll find a holster that you like. And when you do, make sure you use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word, just like it is right up there, and you're going to get your hog holster on discount. And then finally, it's that time of year, folks. Things are starting to change again already. The wet season, the April is normally April showers, but we're going to say March showers bring April and May flowers. Guess what? That means if it's raining, that means you need new gear. So get your agency together, get your group together, go to uscombatgear.com. Folks, they have a huge selection. They specialize in group sales. That's why I keep telling you, get your group together. Go there, check them out. I promise you, look, if you are looking for a deep discount, if you're looking for great customer service, you will not find a better place to shop for your tactical gear than uscombatgear.com, the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun. Also, I want to remind you, if you are watching this program live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, just know that, you're watching the show live. And that means that we're taking your comments. Whether we agree with you, whether we disagree with you, no matter what it is, we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you think about the program, what you think about the things that we're talking about. If maybe you just want to chime in on the particular topic. Once again, I don't care if you agree or disagree. Go ahead and chime in. In fact, it's almost better if you disagree, because then we have the opportunity to mock you.
Oh, wow, is that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
That's right. We do then have the opportunity to mock you. As Mike would normally say, we will mock you. And that's just because we can. And it's fun. It really is. All right. We're going to start the program today, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Minneapolis. And what's starting to happen in other parts of the country. And that has to do with the most, let me give my air quotes, mostly peaceful riots that are basically being put forward and being, quite frankly, led and encouraged and, quite frankly, participating in the organization by members of the Democratic Party or members of the leftist establishment. Here's just a kind of a lead-in to kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff that's going on.
Move over, Ice Mommies. Trantifa will take it from here.
That's what you get when you come to Minnesota.
From here on out, it's J6 every night in Minneapolis, after the call went out from Governor Walz.
And if you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record.
Timmy came out last night and told the mommy mob to hit the streets and stalk agents with cameras. The only thing you're not allowed to record are Somali fraud rings. This time, the crowd looked a little gnarlier, if you can believe it. It looked like a big Antifa reunion. And they were doing a lot more than just recording. They broke into an FBI vehicle and used a tow rope to rip out a weapons locker.
Hey, don't hit them!
Masked vigilantes looted the car, stole a weapon, bulletproof vests, and stacks of sensitive government documents. These documents had names of federal agents and their locations. The rioters immediately exploited the intel and began doxing agents online. This was a major intelligence breach. Homan just announced they've arrested the perpetrator, and he's going to face felony charges.
So the thing is that once again, now these are mobs that are doing this, all right? Now, keep in mind that every single time that you have elected officials like Walz or like Mayor Frey, or like the members of Congress like Hakeem Jeffries, every single time they say go out there and take to the streets, and they say they may insinuate peaceful protest, but every single time, not once, not twice, but every single time, it is leading to violence in the streets. Violence in the streets there in Minneapolis. In fact, it's gone beyond just encouragement. According to Fox News, Minneapolis Teachers Union chief admits that elected officials in anti-ICE signal chats, meaning these signal chats are part of the organizing things, the tools that they're utilizing in order to organize to go after ICE and ICE agents and attack them and prevent them. Let me use a different word, to obstruct them from being able to do their jobs. Here's what the story reads. It says, the head of the Minneapolis Teachers Union said in a recent interview that elected officials are involved in anti-ICE agitation in the city. Quote, the notion that people are actively engaged in ICE watch, in being vigilant, in protecting our neighbors, in signal chat groups, running plates, in their cars doing patrols, that somehow we're ashamed of that activity, that somehow you can call our bosses and show our faces and then we would be shunned by our community. Marcia Howard told Al Jazeera in an interview last week. Howard is the president of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators and perhaps the best known for her role in championing the 2020 riots in her city over the death of George Floyd. She was also an English teacher for 25 years including during the riots. She has been described as a steward of George Floyd Square, a memorial area where Floyd was killed. She meets with local activists every morning. Quote, our bosses are in the signal chats with us, she said. Our elected officials are in the chats with us. Now, mind you, these are the chats that are leading to the attacks on the attacks on federal agents. These are the signal chats that are leading to the destruction of federal property, the theft of federal property, including firearms, including sensitive confidential documents. These are the signal chats that are leading to the doxing, the outing of, and the threatening of federal agents and their families. They know this is going on and they are participating in it anyway. Wow. At a certain point, folks are going to be held accountable. And those who are in elective office, those who are leadership of community organizations that are participating in the obstruction of justice, the obstruction of federal agents in the performance of their duties, that are involved in the attacks upon, assault with a deadly weapon, threatening, right? Attempted murder in some cases of federal agents and their families, they are going to be held accountable, or at least they need to be held accountable. I am sincerely hoping, and Homan has already said that whoever broke in this locker, they've already got him, and they're already after him. They're already going to prosecute them. But the people who are participating in these signal chats, to the degree that they are providing information, that they are providing assistance to those in the commission of a crime, they ought to be held accountable as well. And I am believing, I am a hoping, I am a wishing, and I am a praying that they are paying attention, that they will in fact be held accountable. And let's be clear on another thing. The things that the elected officials, the things that members of the Democratic Party, the things that the media have said that have instigated these things have, number one, been far, far more insightful than anything that Donald Trump said on January 6th, than anything he said on January 6th. The impact of what they have been doing has been far worse than anything that happened on January 6th. Let us be clear. No one died on January 6th. The only person, well, let me clarify. One person did die. They were shot by a federal agent. An unarmed woman was shot by a federal agent. We do knew that her name would be Ashley Babbitt. But when we look at the destruction of property, when we look at the clear obstruction of justice, here's my question. I'm hoping that they are using the same exact tools that they used to go after J6ers. I hope they're doing that same exact thing to go after all of these folks. I'm hoping they scour the country going after these folks and throw them in jail the same way they did the January 6ers. Do you think they will? I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. I think you start, but I'm at least hoping they go after the ringleaders. But yeah, so, and by the way, it's only going to get worse. What these folks fail to understand is that if you really want ICE out, right? If you really want to get them out of Minneapolis, then there's one way to do it. The president has said it. Tom Homan has said it. And that's real simple. Hand over the criminals. Hand over those illegal aliens who have committed crimes, the ones you have in your prisons, the ones you have in your jails. Do not just set them free on the street so that they can victimize more Americans. Hand them over, because for all of the ICE, if you do that, number one, the Border Patrol agents that are there providing crowd control, they're not needed anymore. And the ICE agents will be so busy in the jails, going to the jails to pick up those criminal illegal aliens, that they won't need to be in the community. They won't need to be in the streets. It's really that simple. That's the reason why the overwhelming majority of the violence that's taking place is taking place in an area where less than 1% of all of those who are being detained is happening. It's because they have to be into the streets. Well, not just because they have to be in the streets, but because they're also instigating people in the media. We just showed you Governor Walz encouraging people to go out into the streets and resist. We've already heard Mayor Fry encourage people to resist. It's nothing new. And now they're upping their rhetoric. And they're upping the ante, and they're now more interested in doing even more, because as CNN is reporting, leftists and liberal gun groups are seeing rush of new members. Why? Well, let's take a little bit of reason why. Several niche left-leaning gun advocacy groups said that since the killing of Alex Preddy by federal agents in Minneapolis, they can hardly keep up with the surging demand for firearms training. With President Trump sending armed federal agents into communities around the country, even more once gun-shy liberals and leftists are considering getting armed. And while Americans tend to think of gun owners as leaning more Republican and male, already more women, gay people, and people of color have taken up arms in recent years, particularly after 2020. Weekend classes at LA progressive shooters are sold out through March. Registrations for permit to carry courses at Pink Pistols Twin Cities, which serves LGBTQ people in Minneapolis and St. Paul, are up from an average of 5 people per class to 25. The group recently added 7 more courses to accommodate increased interest, and those are filling up too. To paraphrase a more recent meme, the right is arguing for gun control and the left is buying guns. Quote, in the past couple of days, there's been a shift. Laura Smith, national spokesperson for the Liberal Gun Club, says this changed views on the left. Alex Preddy, a beloved ICU nurse who cared for ailing veterans and outdoorsmen who was concerned about the environment, was also, like 1/3 of Americans, a gun owner. He was carrying his lawfully owned weapon in a holster before federal agents disarmed him and fatally shot him. Jordan Levin, founder of the inclusive gun community, a better way 2A, says his organization has seen an influx of gun groups and instructors asking to join its resource page the last few weeks. Ready Rainbow in Chicago, Grassroots Defense in Iowa, and Solidarity Defense in Sacramento are a few recent additions. Quote, people are scared and angry and want to equalize the power imbalance that we're seeing in the news. Where you've got ICE steamrolling people with no recourse, he adds. So my question is, are you basically saying, are they insinuating, this guy from CNN, that the reason these folks are buying guns is so that they can shoot federal officers, so that they can shoot federal agents? Is that what they're insinuating? I would just think that they would want to have them for their own personal defense, to defend themselves, defend their homes, defend their property. But it's sounding like even CNN is admitting that their goal here is to, well, up the ante. That their goal here is to go after, or at least be prepared, should federal agents seek to continue to do their work after they have failed at obstructing them. Should federal agents seek to detain them for violating federal law, that their plan is to shoot them. Now, I will be the first to tell you that wanting to have a firearm to defend yourself does not in and of itself mean that you are seeking violence. No, it does not necessarily mean that. There are plenty of people, including myself, who carry a firearm every day and do so. I'm not doing so because I'm looking for violence. I do so because in case violence finds me, I'm prepared to address it. Right? Now, if that violence should come at the hands of a federal officer, the first thing that I would ask myself is, what have I done to put myself in this situation? Right? Because I have also said the best way to win a gunfight is to not get in a gunfight. So why would I engage armed federal agents and seek to obstruct them in the performance of their duties? And while you may think that standing between a federal agent and them trying to arrest somebody, maybe you may think that throwing a frozen water bottle at a federal agent is not obstructing or is not assault. Guess what? It is. So anyway, yeah, this is going to be, I'm getting the feeling, and once again, here's CNN. I don't know if they're encouraging it, but they're definitely insinuating that these folks are arming themselves so that they can take on law enforcement. Now, what does that mean to take on law enforcement? What do they mean by that? One has to wonder. And I got to tell you, when I consider how the left does things, yeah, I'm not so convinced that anything that they're planning on doing is right and righteous. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it's not. Sorry, y'all, but you got y'all. All I have to go by is the examples that you have set. The examples that you've set so far says you are not to be trusted on any of this stuff. I don't trust you. Sorry, but you've earned that distrust. The obstruction is going, by the way, beyond violence, right? It's actually now getting into the policy area. And that leads to an example of what's happening in a Portland County area where they're actually creating a sanctuary fund, right? This is being reported by the folks over at the Washington Free Beacon. It says here, Portland Area County launches sanctuary fund providing taxpayer-funded grants to assist illegal immigrants. The Oregon County that includes the city of Portland is shelling out $75,000 in taxpayer money through a new, quote, sanctuary fund program designed to help left-wing groups that assist illegal immigrants. Multnomah Sanctuary, the Multnomah Sanctuary Fund was launched Thursday and will award grants ranging from $2,000 to $10,000 to community-based organizations that work with underserved, culturally specific populations affected by immigration enforcement. The money can be used for services such as legal aid, utility, rent assistance, child care, case management, healthcare, and related needs. It will prioritize equitable distribution across diverse linguistic, ethnic, and cultural communities. The grant program was included in a $250,000 package that Multnomah County Board of Commissioners unanimously approved in December, quote, to strengthen the county's sanctuary commitment. It also received $226,000 from Metro Council, Oregon's regional government, bringing the total taxpayer dollars used to counter federal immigration enforcement to $476,000. So in other words, what their goal here is to make sure that federal law is not enforced. Let's see now. If you are seeking to make sure that federal law, if you are acting in a way that prevents federal law from being enforced, that's not just like in normal sanctuary cases. That's not just normal, like, okay, well, we're not required to help you. And that's true. Local government is not required to enforce or assist in the enforcement of federal law. But what they are not allowed to do is obstruct federal law. And one has to raise the question, okay, so if any of this money goes to obstruct, are now the county commissioners who participated in this, who approved these monies, are they now guilty of obstruction? Can they now be brought up on charges? I mean, these are the sorts of things that need to be considered. You already have a senator. Oh my gosh, I already forgot his name. There's already a U.S. senator, and I just saw the video. There's already a proposal right now going before the U.S. Senate that would make it such that if you have a sanctuary policy and someone commits a crime because of that sanctuary policy, if you are obstructing, then you would go to jail. If a criminal was released, excuse me, you would then go to jail. If a criminal was released and committed a crime, you could then be either charged. No, that's a different one. That was a proposed law where somebody was saying, well, maybe you should be able to be charged as an accessory. But this was one that specifically just dealt with if you were a sanctuary jurisdiction, you could be brought up on federal charges. I'm all for it. Once again, if you are promoting the obstruction of the law, you ought to be held accountable. You shouldn't just be able to just get away with it. And part of that is you have people like the state of California, which is one of the worst perpetrators as a government of doing stuff like that. You've got stuff that they're passing that is basically encouraging people to violate the law. Like, for example, the reason why federal officers or a lot of these ICE agents are wearing masks is because when people are able to identify them, they are being doxxed and they're being threatened. Their families are being threatened. And so they're trying to protect themselves and trying to protect their families. And I think anyone who's participating or doing things that is facilitating them being doxxed, they're now an accessory to that crime. Well, one of those things has to do with if you do not allow them to be able to wear masks to protect their identities, right? And yes, they're masked not because they want to be masked. They're masked because they have to protect themselves and they have to protect their families. Well, in the state of California, they've passed a law that says that you are not allowed to wear a mask. Well, the police chief in the biggest city in the state of California has basically said, yeah, that law is it's a no-go. We're not going to enforce it.
Reality of one armed agency approaching another armed agency to create conflict over something that would be a misdemeanor at best or an infraction, it doesn't make any sense.
Chief McDonnell went on to say the state's federal mask ban is not a good public policy decision, adding in his opinion it was not well thought out due to the possibility of conflict between law enforcement agencies. The ban on face coverings, known as the No Secret Police Act, was introduced following immigration raids across Southern California that began last summer. The law went into effect on January 1st, but is not being enforced because the Department of Justice is currently challenging it in court. So far, the judge presiding over that case has indicated that the federal government has a strong argument that this could be discrimination against federal agents, since some California state law enforcement is exempt.
Right, because they exempted a lot of California law enforcement got exempted. So, in the end, whether it is legal or constitutional or not, I want you to think about that. What they're basically saying is they want one group of law enforcement agents to go to another group of law enforcement agents and either ticket or arrest them for doing their jobs and protecting their families. And I am pretty sure that you're not going to find many local law enforcement, regardless. And there are people in local law enforcement who have issues with ICE and the way that they're doing things. I'm not saying that law enforcement is like everybody else in that you got people across the political diaspora and people believe different things and they have different positions and they're pro law enforcement, but they don't necessarily believe what they're doing. Okay, but to believe that they are then those folks, along with the folks who agree with what is going on, to believe that they are then going to go before law enforcement and go before these federal agents and try to enforce this. If you think that's going to happen, you're not that bright. You really aren't that bright. You're in particular creating an atmosphere of conflict between two law enforcement agencies. And by the way, that's what they want. They don't want the law enforced. What they want is they want there to be a conflict so that there's violence between the two. Just like they're encouraging people to go out in the streets because they want violence. They want chaos. Because number one, if there is chaos and Donald Trump is president, they can then point the finger. Not they can, they're just going to point the finger and blame Donald Trump. And they're doing it for election purposes. That's why they're lying. That's why they're lying about who the Trump administration is going after. That's why they're lying about what's going on in these protests. That's why they're calling them peaceful. They're not peaceful. They're not peaceful at all. They're calling these folks observers who are not observers. They are agitators. They're not just agitators in some cases. They are obstructors. And once you become an obstructor, you become part of the problem and you're violating the law. But they don't care about all that. All they want is what they want. Anyway, I'm glad to see the police chief there standing up for what is, for common sense, or anyway, standing up against the common nonsense that we see. Anyway, moving right along. Now we're at our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. This first one here, if you want to have an idea of what ICE agents are, and by the way, I'm only doing 2 videos, and both of these are a little, they're not crazy long, but it's enough to take up all of the parting shots. So, but I think this first one is incredibly hilarious in terms of just really helping you to better understand the sort of stupidity that those who are engaging in, that the federal agents are having to deal with when it comes to enforcing the law and, dealing with the left.
No sight of the suspect. Guy next door, though, looks like a prime target. That is profiling. No, it's selectively observing patterns in skin tone, in face tattoos. I do see a kid in the house, though. Appears to be about 4. You think he's running the drug operation?
He's got to be at least 6 to even work the weed farms.
How many donuts are you gonna eat?
Never let a stereotype go to waste.
Hit me with the suspect's deets. Well, says here he's a loving father, small business owner, farmer, backbone of the country. Wait, sorry, that was a CNN article. Here we go. 14 arrests, drug trafficking, kidnapping, assault, rape. Why does the left support these people again?
Are you looking for a more professional answer than stupidity?
Where were those people when Obama deported 3 million?
They came down with political amnesia.
This guy's got better health care than I do. Probably a good thing, though. It says here he's in bed with multiple sclerosis 13. I don't think that stands for MS 13. Never mind.
You know you got the most dangerous job when you got to deal with those monsters.
Well, statistically, the most dangerous job is being Obama's chef. Almost everybody dies. How come every street in Blue Cities looks like the entrance to the United Nations?
Makes them feel like they're making a difference without actually doing anything.
Like giving a homeless person a high five.
Virtue signaling is expensive. It's cheaper to love America. You only got to buy one flag.
He was given a free smartphone, too? Other countries throw you in prison for breaking the law. We give you an unlimited data plan.
I have 2 years till mine is paid off. I have cell phone debt.
Those are just to keep in touch with their case managers and schedule immigration court hearings. Where is this guy?
You should have just gone to Home Depot. You can get them in bulk there.
See, I don't love going after those putting in effort. Makes us look like Homeland Insecurity.
We're arresting a violent criminal. We're not calling in a drone strike on a fruit vendor.
If we didn't have open borders for 4 years, we wouldn't have to do this. How do we get the world to see the reality of what we're facing?
Send in Coldplay.
Well, one thing's for certain, we'll have this guy before we have the Epstein files. We won't have him if he doesn't come out.
Or if he sits on Pam Bondi's desk.
We can't touch the guy until he's in public.
Unless, of course, you bust down the door and yell, "I have anxiety."
What?
Works for Pedro Pascal.
Well, something needs to happen. I have an online pickleball lesson this afternoon.
Yeah, we're just loitering. If I wanted to waste taxpayer money, I'd run for Congress.
Shh, wait. A car full of heavily tatted, shirtless men with firearms just pulled up. It's go time. Well, wait. Let's not jump to conclusions. According to CNN, it's probably just a Bible study.
And that is, no doubt, I'm willing to bet you those are a compilation of conversations that are had in an ICE office. But, the good thing, though, is that, we've got a whole group of people out there, a whole group of warriors who are seeking to try and address and solve the critical problems of our time. And they are doing so, and they are committing themselves and sacrificing of all of the blessings and the trappings of employment, of prosperity, of responsibility, in order to be able to protect and save us and solve the problems of the world.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I was born with the ability to solve geopolitical issues, even though I'm not able to solve any of the problems in my own life. You tell me you're supposed to pay taxes every couple years? Every year? Solve the Middle East, Ukraine, Russia, inflation, unemployment, all without being able to keep a job myself, or a relationship, or keep a pet without having it die. Okay, could you just not cut off my card today, though? Solving geopolitics is actually easy. What's hard is getting to my coffee shop gig on time, and now my boss won't give me any shifts. I've never eaten a vegetable. But more importantly, I don't really have time to deal with all that mumbo-jumbo right now because I'm focused on bigger problems like what to do with the world economy. I am an alcoholic, which has caused pretty severe problems in my life. I was doing AA, but it was cutting into me solving most of the world's problems, so I didn't really have time for that. Just wrote a post solving homelessness. I personally, as you know, have been living with my mom in my 30s, so I technically have solved homelessness for myself. Did you realize you have to keep putting oil into a car like over and over again, like all the time? It's not just a one-time thing, yeah. They'd like you to believe it's a one-time thing, but it's not. I mean, the whole Palestine-Israel thing took me about half hour to solve Thursday morning, which is good that it didn't take long because I had a pretty hectic day. Yeah, my ex and my mom were fighting nonstop because my mom thought that my ex was infringing on her side of the bathroom counter by having all her makeup there and just started throwing it on the floor. Then I came in yelling and screaming to sort of cool stuff down, shoved all their stuff off the sink. My mom got in my face trying to burn me with a curling iron, so then I kicked that out of her hand, almost burned the whole place down. Then my ex decks my mom, knocks her out cold. So me and my ex get into a whole thing and break up, but she doesn't want to leave the house now because she's saying she has squatters' rights and she's sort of locked us out. But the good news is later that day when I was at the hospital with my mom, after a short screaming match with one of the nurses, I figured out how I could negotiate a peace treaty with Russia and Ukraine. I'm focused on solving higher order problems. Well, pop over to my social media. I got the answers to everything. Last week I drafted a post outlining how to solve the whole mental health epidemic, but unfortunately I had a bit of an episode and then trashed my modem, so I haven't been able to post it.
I do fly off the handle quite a bit. Look at this, it's closed. I would definitely solve the problem of places being closed. Yeah, I actually know quite a bit about solving the financial crisis because I had a financial crisis recently myself. I need to log into my bank account, so I did, obviously. Luckily, everything was already maxed out, so the financial crisis was averted and they weren't able to get me a third time. The only way for me to get another credit card now is if I go prepaid, which I was going to do after my last check, but because payday loans takes like 34%, I ended up just buying weed. I don't know if I told you this, but I had another cat die on me this week.
Yes, for those who think that solving problems is that easy, all these keyboard warriors who live in their mom's basement and believe whatever the mainstream media or some rando on TikTok tells them. Yeah, they know, they have all the answers. They solve all the problems. Yes, these are the people that I wind up dealing with. Anyway. I probably should avoid social media more. I probably should, but sometimes I just have such a hard time seeing stupidity and evil being promoted. I can't keep my mouth shut. Anyway, all right, folks, so that brings us to the end of our program. But before we go, we're going to give one more quick shout out to our sponsors. We've got Hitman Industries, rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you to purchase at any length at hitmanindustries.net. We got the California Republican Assembly, the conscience of the Republican Party at cragop.org. We've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market at hogholsters.com. That's HAWGholsters.com, helping Americans wear guns. And then finally, the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun. And that would be at uscombatgear.com. Also, finally, I want to remind you, coming up here in about 2 weeks, 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. Yeah, the 21st, February 21st, we have 2A Freedom Fest taking place at Runaway Campers in Summerfield, Florida. Speakers from all over the country, including yours truly, including Mike Piwowarski, including Amanda Suffolk, Patrick Collins, Tom Knighton, Eric Friday, Gina Roberts. You name it, they are going to be there, and we are going to be having a phenomenal time talking about how to fight for your right to keep and bear arms. I know what you thought. You thought I was going to say fight for your right to party, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Well, anyway. All right, folks. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Hump Day. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see you mañana.